Hi guys, welcome back to another episode from ASUS, Republic of Gamers Australia. My name of course, Dan Kennedy. Today we're going to be looking very briefly at the Maximus 5 formula, and we're going to be focusing on the Fusion Thermo that it comes with. Now we've got the H60 here, which I brought out because to a lot of you this is water cooling. However, these are closed loop systems and you can't integrate them into the Fusion Thermo or into anything else really. They're closed, they only do the CPU, and they do that very well, admittedly. So what we have here is a open loop system from EK Water Blocks. Thank you for sending it out. And these allow you to customize your water cooling solution for your case, for your situation, for whatever components you've got in there. So if you want to cool the RAM, CPU, North Bridge, South Bridge, your MOSFETs, graphics cards, whatever you want, whatever has a water block, you can do that, and you can do them with these systems. So these are very, very flexible systems. I'm going to show you how to do it. After this video, you'll have a better idea of how to do the basics of water cooling. Alright, so think of this as your water cooling cookbook. You'll need at least 2 fans for your radiators, a DDC X top for your pump. Now you can use the original pump head, but I've chosen to use the pump head that EK provides because it increases the efficiency. If you're going to be water cooling, you should at least be doing CPU water cooling, which we're using here. So that's the EK Supreme CSQ design, and we've got the EK 150 reservoir. We've also got a radiator from EK and all the fittings that we need over here. Alright, the first step is to install the water block, which is very, very easy. EK just do a screw down plate and put that on top. You put your thermal paste on there, and we're forgetting the springs. Alright, so the next thing you're going to have to do is place your G1/4 fittings on. So these use a standard, or British standard pipe thread, and that is the standard for all water cooling products. So they're on. You don't need to tighten them up just yet. And just make sure that the compression rings are loosened a bit, so when you go to take them off it's no big hassle. Alright, so this is the next step. This is how you put tubing on, and the way I usually measure tubing is I see if there's any kinks, so I actually fit it, and if there's no kinks then I pretty much hold my thumb there and cut with some scissors. Like so. Try and get it as straight as possible. And if you're using compression fittings, which we are, just attach the ends on there, like so. So you got one facing one way, the other facing the other way. Cool. Now, because this is using a barb instead of a compression fitting, we don't need it. And we're just gonna place that nice and tight over the barb, and then place this guy nice and tight on there. Press it down like so. You'll see there's no kink there, which is good. It means we're not restricting the water flow. And once that is nice and tight and snug, you have completed. That's as easy as it gets. So that's pretty much how you attach the hose to different fittings and different components. Alright, so we've got the Cosmos S out, and it is a massive case. We're going to move this water cooling setup into here and mount everything that you need to mount. Namely, you need to mount the radiator, you need to mount the reservoir, usually. And yeah, so I'm going to show you how to do that. We've also gone to the store. We've got ethylene glycol based coolant. It's because I didn't order any coolant from EK Water Blocks. This is fine to use. It's usually heavy duty, heavy metals, multiple metals, and ethylene glycol performs at 1 to 2 degrees worse than water. There are specific water based coolants for water cooling specifically, which you can also get from pretty much, you know, if you're in Australia, PC Case Gear, thecoolroom.com.au is another one, and GAN mods as well. I've got them in the links description below, and they do a lot of coolants and different water cooling parts if you want to get started. Alright, so if you're using the Cosmos S or a case that is pretty much built for water cooling, you can actually fit a triple radiator up here. What we've done is attached a 240mm radiator, and we've put the fans on the outside and the radiator on the inside. So that works out fairly well. Alright guys, thanks for sticking around. I've got the Mars 2 plugged in here. We've used the same principle to connect one hose to connect all hoses. So if you have that at least basic principle down, you'll be able to connect all of your loop up. And you can connect it in pretty much any order you like, because it'll, you know, reach equilibrium as it's running. The only real rule that you have to follow is that your reservoir needs to be above your pump. And the reason for that is that it's going to draw liquid really, really fast into that area. So you need a large supply of water above it. And yeah, so our loop is set up going from the pump to the Fusion Thermo, into the CPU, into the radiator, and then back into the res. So that's our complete loop. I've also got, you probably can't see it very well, a fill port here. And depending on your point of view, a fill port is just a drain port upside down, where you can include a drain port as well. You can customize this as much as you want and include as many components as you want that can handle the thermal load. And if you've got a keen eye, you see that we've got a bit of a fire hazard here, but it's not really. Your power supply won't run unless it's grounded, and so you need to stick this green wire, a connection from the green wire to any of the blacks. The blacks are the ground wires, and that'll create that connection which will allow your power supply to turn on without frying your CPU or MOSFETs or anything. So what this essentially does is it allows us to do a loop cycle, and I'm going to show you the safest way to do this in just a tick. Before we head into that, Trident has sent us some RAM, 2400 modules, very, very fast, nice color scheme, red and black as well, so we're going to be putting that in there as well. Alright, so this is the power supply 24-pin header, and once again I stress that you do this at your own risk, but it is fairly safe. So if your wires are coloured, you can stick a green into any of the blacks, and I've just used the 1, 2, 3, 4th and 5th across on the top, and the top is the connector plate there that you can see. So the 4th and the 5th across will trip your power supply. And it is really important when you do this. You can use a stapler, you can use a paper clip as well to connect it up, but it's really important that you have nothing connected to the power and that it is completely off. Once we start filling this up, the reservoir up, we're going to plug the power in and turn it on. Alright, so we've got the loop set up, we've filled it up, and now we're going to turn it on, and it's going to cycle pretty much. So it's going to suck all that liquid down, it's going to get rid of a lot of air in the system, and then we fill it up again and just keep going until all the air is cleared from the system. So once that's all ready and the power switch is in, all we have to do is flick the switch, make sure it's all plugged in, like so. There we go. As you see, the water comes down, you hear the pump. It's running on dry at the moment, so you turn it off. And now, all of that air's gone, we need to fill the system back up, and you'll start getting rid of a lot of the air that's in the system. Right, so we're going to go again. Here we go. Almost got a complete loop. Almost. Alright guys, so I'm going to split this video up into two. I'm going to finish this one soon and show you the inside of this case as well. And just a recap on the water cooling. Once you've reached this stage, it's fully cycled and looped and all the air is out of it, so you can't really see the liquid moving, but you know it is. Then you go to your leak testing stage. So what I essentially did was I put tissues in between the barbs and just ran it for about 6 hours straight, and then checked the tissues for any sort of coolant residue. Which there was none. I maintain if you always tighten your barbs very, very tight, the O-ring is going to compress and won't leak at all. And if you use compression valves as well, you're minimizing the chances of a leak even further. I personally never actually had a leak with water cooling. It's very rare. A lot of people sort of worry about it, obviously because water and components don't mix, but if you assemble a loop properly and your plumbing is good, you won't have any problems. So do take those precautions I gave you earlier, and I hope you all the best for your water cooling adventures, and I hope that this has opened up your mind, given you an opportunity to go and try this out yourself. There is a lot of knowledge out there in terms of water cooling. There's so much literature on it, and you know, you can make a loop really nice. You can make it really effective as well in terms of your overclocking as well. We've got a dual radiator up here, which is cooling the MOSFETs, PWMs, and the CPU. So the Fusion Thermo is doing a really good job, and I'm going to show you how effective that is next video. But now I just want you guys to relax and have a look at the inside of the computer I'm going to show you. And this computer is actually going to our overclocking event on August 4th. So if you are in Sydney, head down, and the link description below has all the details for that as well. So that is at Digital Star in Auburn, and we would really like to see you there. So hang around for the next video as well. Do subscribe, and I will see you next time. My name, of course, Dan Kennedy, and this has been ASUS, Republic of Gamers Australia. See you later.